Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Ammar Elm, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Alan Arlt, the founder of Arlt Consulting, a business consultancy and executive coaching firm focused on unlocking the hidden potential in leaders and their organizations. With decades of experience in leadership development, operations, and team dynamics, Alan works with high-performing founders and executives to enhance clarity, align strategic initiatives, and drive results. Alan, welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
I'm excited to dive in. I
Yeah.
always like to start from the beginning. So can you take us on a little journey, little trip down memory lane on what were you doing before you started your consulting company? And then what was really the motivation behind starting Arlt Consulting?
Yeah, I guess my professional background, I started in media. So I was working for Turner Broadcasting and then Discovery Networks in New York City. And my focus was on brand partnerships, embedding big brands into storytelling at scale. And that world really taught me how to think big. But more importantly, it taught me how to align these really big creative ideas with measurable outcomes tied to an audience. And then after that, I made a hard pivot. After playing in a lot of bad recreational basketball leagues in New York City, I founded Ultimate Hoops, which was a basketball league built around a pro level experiences for everyday players. So we
Mm,
had stats, we had highlights, rankings, and most importantly, we had culture because we really understood that audience. We started small, but within 18 months, we were acquired by Lifetime, and then we scaled into 30 markets within North America. And that
awesome.
experience, yeah, that experience really taught me how to build something that people truly love. It
Yeah.
also taught me how to grow without losing the soul of your product when you're expanding from one market into 30. So that background, media storytelling and grassroots sports entrepreneurship is really the foundation for how I think today. And
Mm,
I really try to move between creative and practical. And I don't want just the product to work. It's not why I started Ultimate Hoops and Arlt Consulting. I really want to leave a legacy for our clients. So when you think about what inspired me to start Arlt Consulting, I just kept running into the same pattern, just talking to people organically. People in sports who had big ideas, had energy, but they were missing some real critical pieces. They had the
mm,
passion, but they lacked a roadmap. Others were just drowning in all this technology, but they had no culture to wrap around that. Others had great branding, creativity, but their ops were just a mess. And
mm,
I've lived on both sides,
yeah.
creative and operational, so I could really see the gaps clearly. And for me, when I think about it, the magic in sports business, in my experience, happens at the intersection of really three forces:
Mm,
culture, technology, and sports, something I've seen and lived. I mentioned I experienced it when I started Ultimate Hoops. And so I decided to start a company that could help others do that. And not
yeah.
just by giving advice, but by helping them actually build. So our team stays grounded, strategic, and aligned with people who want to create great things.
I love that. And it sounds like your experience comes from actually having done it in the real world, not some philosophy that you've maybe grasped over years of corporate experience. You've also had an exit in Ultimate Hoops very
Yeah.
recently. How long ago was that?
That was a while ago. So we started Ultimate Hoops in 2006, and then we were
Nice.
acquired just shortly into 2008. And then I
Yeah,
spent 15 years just scaling the business within Lifetime. It was just an amazing company, great organization.
that's awesome. So 18 months in, what was the decision behind passing it, or I guess selling a portion of the company 18 months in?
Yeah, I think I get asked that question a lot. I think we were ready, and I think my vision really aligned with Brahm, the CEO of
Mm,
Lifetime. He was building these amazing professional quality basketball courts within Lifetime at scale. So he had the on-court professional experience I was looking for. What we brought was a professional online digital experience that Lifetime was really trying to lean into in 2008. So I looked at it as a huge win in two areas. One, I could get to scale nationally, but two, I could take this ESPN online full stat experience and then drop this into a professional environment within Lifetime. So it was I won't say it was an easy decision, but our brands and our visions just aligned. And when that happens, great things can happen.
100%. It's the mastermind effect.
It
Like
is. It
two
truly
minds
is.
together, it's always better than one, especially when, like you were saying, the visions are aligned. Let's fast forward to today to give the listeners more context on what your focus is currently. Help us understand with Arlt Consulting, who is your ideal customer? Who do you love to work with? And then from there, what are the different ways that you work with them, different offers, services, etc.?
Yeah, I think so. I really rolled out Arlt Consulting in 2023. That's when I really put full thrust behind it. And back then, Arlt Consulting was just pure strategy on what they were trying to build. They wanted structure, direction, and someone who could just help them move the map and plan ahead. And there was just so much noise out there. And we really just tried to cut through all of that with just simple, executable strategy format frameworks out of the gate. But over time, we started seeing a really common response from our clients, and that was, "Hey, Alan, this is great strategy, great framework, but can you actually help us do it?" And
Hmm.
that really shifted everything. So we started offering development services, so digital products, websites, brand identity, operational systems, and we also leaned deeper into the growth side. So revenue models, partnerships, and monetization as well. So when you think about Arlt Consulting today, the model is really like a triangle. So one is strategy. So we always try to define the vision and game plan for our clients. Then the
Hmm.
development, what they need, the build out, and then growth. Once we've nailed the product and the development, how do we actually take that and grow that to scale in the marketplace? So every engagement touches all three, even if the weight is different depending on the client. But what we care most about is that the strategy is grounded and the product is usable and the growth for the client is sustainable.
Powerful. So it sounds like it evolved from just strategy to also the implementation and then the focus on the growth to make sure they're actually applying the strategy correctly. Is
Yes,
that fair?
correctly. Yeah, we run a very bespoke model, right? There's clients come to us with different stages, different problems, and we really try to meet them where they're at and really get personalized service because they are so different in the marketplace.
Yeah. I'm super curious your perspective on this because I have a lot of consultants that listen to this, but also talk to a lot of consultants as well. And one topic that seems to be a theme that seems to come up a lot is the idea of scalability with the consulting model from a fulfillment standpoint. Because especially depending on the solution that the individuals are offering, it can have inherent bottlenecks when it comes to time, when it comes to personnel. So when you think about the scalability of your fulfillment model, what is your thought process on that? And what's your perspective overall when it comes to consulting from a scalability standpoint?
Yeah, it's one that we're talking a lot about internally right now. So I guess when I think about scale and growing a consulting business or anything, our biggest bottleneck right now, it's scale.
Hmm.
It's not growth, it's scale. And there's a difference there, right? So we're growing steadily, but scaling our model is the challenge because we're not, as I mentioned, we're not selling widgets. Every project is bespoke, every client's different. And that really requires a high touch, high trust approach, which is difficult to
Yeah.
scale. So right now, when I think about our company, the bottleneck is operational capacity. We're lean
Mm.
by design, which is our strength, right? But it also means we have to be super selective. I can't take on 15 clients at once, right? So the challenge is how do we keep the integrity and intimacy of our work while building enough structure underneath us to handle that volume without burnout? So that's really where we're focused right now, building the team and the systems to expand the surface area of what we can cover. And as I mentioned before, the core challenge is just finding ways to replicate the bespoke nature at scale. So that means building more systems, more playbooks. We're trying to codify what makes our processes effective, how we think, how we communicate, how we deliver, so that as we grow, we can really train others that join the organization to maintain that's operational design. And that's the puzzle we're trying to solve right now.
100%, and making sure that the standard of service is still stays the same. I find that as you grow, we've experienced this at our company, Closers.io. We went
Yeah.
from 0 to 30 million a year in 18 months. So you experience different bottlenecks depending on which stage you're at, but a lot of it comes down to quality control, quality control. One thing that our founder CEO says all the time is the business is only as good as the front lines, the people that are facing the customers, interacting with the customers. You mentioned something
Yeah.
I'd love for you to give your perspective on the difference between scale and growth. For the people listening that don't really understand what you mean by that, Can you break that down a little bit further?
Yeah, I think when people think of growth, or at least how I think about growth, is really tied to revenue, financials, how many clients that you can touch, it's reach, right? But when I think about scale is much more measured to me, right? And that's really about protecting the brand and the quality. So you can grow as fast as you want, but that doesn't mean that your product and your quality is going to scale in line with your growth, right? So I think that's what we're really focused on when how we think about scaling and growth is making sure that the quality of our product, quality of our services, quality that services that our clients are getting are not being impacted by the rate of our growth trajectory as well. So there we have waiting lists for certain clients right now that we could certainly, if we want to grow fast, we could take them in and I could hire more people, W-9s, and say, hey, here's a template, go do it. But that's not the type of business that I'm interested in running.
Yeah.
I like to build a team, an operational team that can really manage more of the systems, but allows me to be more high touch with the strategy and the clients. That's to me building scale versus growth.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Walk me through, let's shift a little bit to the back end of the business. When it comes to client acquisition and bringing in more leads to your personal organization, what does that process currently look like?
Yeah, it's a good question. What I'm finding is our strongest, when you think about acquisition channel, is has always been relationships. So
Hmm.
whether it's founders that I've worked with in the past, or referrals from people who've experienced our work, or operators in the space who just trust what we bring, it all starts with human connection. So
Hmm.
when you think about other channels, acquisition channels, LinkedIn has been a huge help, but I've never really liked the vibe there, to be honest. I still post there occasionally, but it's not where I feel like I'm in the most flow. X, I'm really leaning into more. It's different. It's conversational. It is messy, but in some ways, it's a good way, messy. I can post thoughts in real time, wins, challenges, frameworks. And I also write a newsletter called The Sports Life that people can subscribe to on our website as well. And what I find interesting is most clients come through our social or a newsletter. We do some paid ads as well, but it's not necessarily about what we're selling. It's more about how we think. And that builds trust before we even talk. So once people experience what we do, once they feel how we blend strategy and creativity and get them results, they tend to share it. And I've been in this business a long time, and word of mouth is still undefeated.
Yeah, 100%. And I think word of mouth referrals are the best leads. They're the highest intent, high like no trust factor, a lot easier to close than cold traffic. But a lot of business owners tend to find that it's hard to build a business off of that. And it's cool that you're doing paid ads. I'm curious what that looks like. Is that like a call funnel? Is that an opt-in to the newsletter? What does that look like?
Yeah, we do a little of it. Most of it is just opt into the newsletter. That's one channel that we do. But we also send them to, we offer 20-minute just strategy sessions as well as a top of funnel, as a lead generation as well. And then we've also offered a low investment, we call it our P30 sessions. So they're 30 sessions of just really high impact consulting strategy sessions that you can have with me or someone else on our team as well to make sure that we're seeing the bottom end of the market and try to move them up into the market. But more practically, some people just have, I don't need a full consultant or I don't need everything that we can offer. I'm just stuck on one thing. And if I could just talk to like for 20 or 30 minutes, I think I could have a breakthrough on what we're doing. So we
Yeah.
offer those as well, and we drive a lot of lead generation into our P30 products as well.
What does P30 mean?
Just private 30-minute sessions. We just shorten
Okay.
it to
Yeah, yeah.
these one-on-one sessions. Yeah.
Fair enough. And that has a low ticket cost to it associated. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes. Yeah, it does. It's right now they're $150 a month right now to get connected to me, and then it's lower level depending on who you talk to in the
Got it.
organization. And we always vet that out first. We always make sure that who's ever signing up for a P30 will look at it and I'll be like, this isn't someone that I should speak to, or I think they get more value talking to someone else. It's never based on price. It's always about what's the best fit in our team, if it's me or someone else.
Got it. It sounds like that could potentially lead into a conversation for a larger engagement. So
It,
it
it,
could lead to
it
sales.
often does. It often does, but that's really not the intent behind it. We don't necessarily look at it as let's do these as a lead generation up to a potential larger project or larger investment. A lot of it is we got in this business to try to really raise up the sports industry, take organizations that were once small like Ultimate Hoops and help a lot of these founders because we really want to grow the sports industry at scale. So we want to touch as many people as we can. We don't want to get caught in one certain area of the sports industry as well. So we're trying to stay as wide as possible.
I'm curious what the sales process looks like. So once a lead comes in through the door, let's say they booked a discovery call or maybe they reached out on some sort of platform. What are the different steps that they go through for them to become a client?
Yeah, there's not that many steps intentionally, right? We don't sell in a traditional sense. When I tell people, it really starts with a conversation. We're all trying to get to the truth of where they're at, what they need, whether they're actually the right fit for us. We have just as many clients will come to us and will say, we're probably not the right fit for you, but someone else might be, or you might not be at this stage. So we'll still try to offer real advice. So there's always a vetting step. It's always respectful, but it is essential for us, not only for us, but for the client as well. And if there's alignment in scope and budget and urgency, if those boxes are checked, then we'll, as you mentioned, we'll move into discovery mode. And for those, I just really try to lead with curiosity. That's always been my instinct from discovery to ultimate hoops. I'm just a super curious person. And I want to know every single detail of their business, even if it's not necessarily tied to what they're bringing us for. I need to get down to like where the roots of where that problem could potentially start from or opportunity is. So once we have that, and I can reflect back a clear path and say, here's how we see it, here's how we can build together. If that clicks, we move forward. If it doesn't, we part ways with clarity. And hopefully, we've given them at least some actionable advice to take through the discovery process.
Yeah. I like that a lot. I love the clarity piece, the curiosity piece. I actually have that written on my wall, childlike curiosity always. And
Yep.
and then digging into beneath the surface, what's really going on, what's the challenge, and is there some sort of fit there? I think that's the best way to approach it in today's world,
It
especially.
is. And people on my team tease me because they're like, you had a 20-minute session with this recreational league in Seattle, and you're on the phone with them for 65 minutes or 70 minutes. And I know, I can't help myself sometimes. It's like we
Yeah,
get stuck on a thread and I want to know every single detail. We really try to bring passion for everything that we do. And I know passion is an overused word, but we're in the sports industry. Like we're selling fun, whether it be youth sports, adult, like sports is supposed to be fun. So we try to bring that same energy. We're still super focused, but we have to remember at the end of the day, this is sports, it is entertainment, and it should be fun to actually work with these clients to solve problems.
100%. I love that. When you think of your future and you think of the vision that you have for the organization, let's say over the next 12, 24 months, paint me that picture. Are there any specific targets, revenue goals, or just goals in general that you're striving towards?
Yeah, I think we're focused on two lanes right now, one that's deep and one that's pretty wide. So the deep lane for us is just expanding our footprint in sports and tech, especially in youth sports. So
Mm,
we've been working on a platform with a client called Aim Plus, with a client Aim Sports Group, and the platform's Aim Plus, which we just launched its first public preview in Los Angeles last weekend. And
nice.
that experience really brought everything that we believe in an organization to light. Culture, tech, sports, all into one product. Stats, rankings, things that I know very well with Ultimate Hoops. It's really, we built a digital layer on top of the live sports experience that they do at the LA Convention Center. And I mention that because it's really a case study for what we do best. We take ambitious ideas, make it real and make it matter. So that's the deep lane. The wide lane I've already talked about, and that's really scaling our P30 sessions. These short form strategy calls, just a powerful way for people to start working with us
Yeah,
inside the organization. So our growth plan is really twofold. Go deep with a few high impact platform builds with clients, and then go wide by giving more people access to our thinking through our P30 sessions.
I like that. What do you think the key is for the P30 sessions? What's the idea with scaling that?
Yeah, it's a good question. Obviously, there's only one of me, right? But I'm hoping that the people that I bring in, I try to bring in people that are tied to P30 sessions that definitely have a different skill or have experience than I have.
Mm,
So if I've managed a multi-million dollar P&L, I can have that skill, but there's someone who can really go deep in the finance of someone's business as well, that I may have that person spend that P30 session as well. So I'm paying very close attentions to the type of people who are coming in and booking those P30 sessions and then mapping the right experts on our team within our organization. Or if we don't have that capability, I'll often take them and say, hey, I don't have this, but I want to connect you to so and so in this other company or other agency as well to talk to as well. We'll see how far the P30 sessions can scale. It's a good problem to have, but if it just becomes something where they're not getting value, and I feel like Arlt Consulting is losing touch on who's actually talking to the end user, I think
mm,
we'll dial back on that. But that's certainly the most difficult product for us to scale.
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense because your time is directly involved there. That's why it makes sense to bring other people in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
Let me rattle off some closing questions at you. What's one tool or resource that's been a game changer for you and your company?
Yeah, there's been a few. I think the one that we use most is Notion. I think a lot of people lean into Notion. It's really the hub for everything within our organization. All our roadmaps, all our ops, any ideas that come up, customer acquisition. It just brings a lot of structure and clarity when you're building a 95% remote business, right?
Yeah,
And I can't imagine running the business without Notion.
I love it. If you could go back in time, actually, let me rephrase that. If you were talking to a new
I love
entrepreneur,
these type of questions.
yeah, and talk to your younger self, right? When you were first getting started in business, and you could give yourself a piece of advice that you wish you knew when you were first starting off. Something that you know now, but you didn't know it when you were first starting off.
Oh,
What
man,
would
that's a
that
good
be?
question. You've probably heard these answers a lot, but I've found it to be true is your gut is often more powerful than your brain.
Mm,
There's a lot of decisions that always felt right in the moment, or for whatever reason, I didn't take action on it. And the ones that don't go away, that actually just sit there, it's something telling you it's not necessarily the right decision, but it's something that is pushing you in a direction that is one, it's either going to work, which is high, or that thing is pushing you that even if it doesn't work, it's going to teach you something or give you a learning that's going to stack on and make you successful later. And I've had both of those things happen. So when you start feeling that, and regardless of people say it's a bad idea or not, you really need to lean into this voice, whatever you call it, gut voice, whatever thing telling inside of you, this feels right.
yeah,
Because intuition is a powerful thing. It's more powerful than brain and spreadsheets and educations and degrees. It's internal, right? So
yeah,
and there's been moments where I haven't listened to that and leaned into it as much as I should have. So I would tell my younger self, listen to that. Don't
yeah,
discard it and follow that path.
yeah. I love that. I'm a huge believer in that. And I think when people, so let me figure out the proper way to phrase this. When
Yeah.
you can energetically connect to your future. So if we think of where we want to go in life and design our life with zero limitations whatsoever, and personally, I like to write it down. When I write that down and I think about the emotions that I'm going to feel, and I connect with those emotions, meaning I feel those emotions now. I'm going to feel grateful. I feel grateful now. I'm going to feel unlimited. I'm going to feel unlimited now. I'm going to feel
Right.
abundant. I'm going to feel abundant now. And I truly believe, and quantum physics is proving this to be right, is that
Hmm.
when you connect on that level, you're connecting vibrationally, you're connecting energetically, you're connecting emotionally to a future state that hasn't physically manifested yet, but you're proving to yourself in your brain, your neural pathways by visualizing in your body, your emotions by feeling that it's already happened. Your intuition will lead you exactly there. And
Yes.
things will just happen. Like I've met random people in the sauna at the gym that ended up becoming business partners or just really cool friends that have helped me with different things. So I could not agree more.
Yeah. Man, this could turn into a 3-hour podcast, but it's on this subject. But you're right. When you think about a world that's you go on YouTube and it's all about productivity. We talked about Notion, right? We talked about all these different tools to help make you think bigger, think smarter, right? At the end of the day, throw all the tools away. Like, what are you feeling here and down here? The kinetic energy that you talked about, that's often more powerful than any Notion app or widget app or book or education you read. Listen to yourself. Call it spirituality, whatever you want, religion, however. There's something, I believe, guiding something in all of us through this life. Because to your point too, I've had things happen to me, business outside of it, where I'm just like, there's no reason that this should have happened, or why is this happening? There's just things you can't explain. So I'm with you. I'm vibing the same way on that subject.
I love that. And this could easily turn into 3 hours. What's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Yeah, I mentioned X, so just at Alan Arlt. I'm also fairly active on Instagram as well, same thing, at Alan Arlt. And then definitely check out Arlt Consulting's website, just artconsulting.com. You can give us a shout there. And then obviously I'm on LinkedIn as well. I don't check that one as often, but those are the 3 or 4 best ways to reach out.
Awesome. Alan, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. This has been great. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Yeah.
So that wraps up another insightful episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you're looking to scale your business and really enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Until then, keep on climbing.